Welcome to episode. Fuck, what are we? 543? 542?
Episode
This
Unprepared.
week in League. The kids have the house.
Yeah, we do. The bearded mum has fucked off and left us. She's gone to the RSL to pick up a new stepdad for the week, for Easter.
Oh, how fucking good. Episode 3 something, 4 something, who fucking knows? Who fucking cares? I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
And there's no Nate.
And
but he will join us.
This is some of the most unprofessional podcasting we've ever been involved in, and just how we like it.
Fuck yes.
It's episode 543.
543.
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
542 times previous we've done this. And
God damn.
The bearded mum has decided she's had enough.
Yes.
But she's coming on. She's coming later.
That's it. She's coming back.
Yeah.
Like she left her fucking lighter on the stove.
Yeah, just gone down to get a $7.95 roast from the RSL. And a new stepdad.
Fuck it. Do they still do $7.95 roasts at RSLs?
It's been a while since I've been to an RSL, I'll be honest with you.
Jesus Christ. Man, that was the greatest part about when you first moved out of home. Me and the guy I lived with, you'd sit down and we'd mapped out everywhere in a, I want to say maybe 5k radius of where we lived.
Mm.
And almost every night of the week, there was either a cheapy deal or a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
And you could have decent dinners out, and it was cheaper than fucking buying groceries and cooking yourself.
What about Sydney City RSL when I was 18?
Yep.
Being the place to start off in the city because the beverages were cheap.
Yeah.
So you'd stumble out of the RSL and then kick on for the rest of the night and then spend way too much anyway. But Sydney City RSL, good times.
I showed Mrs. Stepdad an Instagram a little while ago about probably the most Sydney of Sydney things is the RSL buffet.
Yeah.
Happens, well, to the best of my knowledge, nowhere else in the country, but she couldn't fucking believe it. And it was still, I reckon it was under $30 a head. It was like Bankstown RSL, something like that. It looked phenomenal. It looked fucking so good.
This week in RSL, buffet lunches and dinners at the right price. Tell you what, I know a bit more about RSL buffets than I do about rugby league.
Well, there you go. You got to start one of those. Does Toowoomba have an RSL?
It'd have to. There's that many old cunts up here.
Go check it out. Report back. That's your mission at some stage within the next month. Go and have a feed. Take Jackson with you.
Yeah.
Go and have a feed at Toowoomba RSL.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you walk into Toowoomba RSL and you think that it's a returned servicemen's league and you're looking for a cheap beer and a buffet lunch. But unfortunately, it's the racial slur lounge and and you're sadly disappointed. You're sadly... Well, some people are.
Depends on you. Oh, hard R's as far as the ear can hear. God damn. And there you go. Anyone else that has your fucking RSL or cheap eats things, send them to us on Twitter or Facebook or something. And if they're close enough, fuck it, even if they're not close, we'll find a way to go and check them out. Don't fucking send us to Perth.
I'd go if the meal's cheap enough.
Nice. Now tell me, what's happening in Toowoomba C Grade Touch? Have we started the season proper?
No, a little bit of a hiatus until 11th of May when we enter it. So I'd say we go back to training after the Easter break, which is good.
Yep.
Yeah, primed and ready.
So is that you go back to training or the club goes back to training?
Oh, no, the club will start the main winter comp training on a Wednesday.
Okay.
Yes, so Leo finished his junior season Friday night with a win in the grand final.
Hey, there we go.
And Yeah, he had. Look, it may come as no shock to anyone listening and have heard the exploits of the Big Diesel on the wing for C grade touch that maybe the offspring of the Big Diesel that plays on the wing in the under 10s isn't renowned for his speed. So they managed to have a couple of really fast kids who got on the outside of young Leo in the first half and scored. You could see there was a couple of heads dropped from the teammates, and Leo was feeling the pressure. And happy to say though, got a little bit of a pep talk from his father and his brother at half time, just tell him to keep his head up. And he went out there in the second half, and I've said before, I've had to relearn parenting with Leo, right? Like Jackson, things tend to come quite easily, athletically and, academically, typically. For him, when he actually applies himself, comes quite easy, and he's hyper competitive. Leo, not so much. He's had to work, and for the last 12 months, we've been working very, very hard with him on not only just the physical side of things and getting him up and about, but also mentally. Like, he can be quite an anxious kid, and he's tends to overthink and get in his own head a little bit. So, we've been working on that for a long time, and he's come a long way last year, and again, even with touch football this year, and the couple of games of soccer and the training that he's done to start the season. Already, you can see a massive difference in him, and he came out in the second half and made probably 4 or 5. They didn't get around him again, and he made 4 or 5 really solid touches under pressure when they were clearly attacking him, like clearly targeting him.
Yep.
And when he didn't make those touches, he was still getting up on the outside and basically herding the wingers back infield to the teeth of the defence, which is, how it needs to be done. So, like I said, he's not the kid with the fancy footwork and putting plays on and cut out balls and all the rest of it, but for my boy and having an understanding as to where he's come from and where he's at and how far he's come, I was really proud of him. So it was great. And he come off when they won the grand final, he was sort of whooping and hollering with his mates, and he sort of come over to the sideline. I gave him a high five and a hug, and he started crying. He was pretty emotional. Because I was like, mate, this is what we've been working for. You did great. This is what it's all about, And he started crying, which was a pretty special moment. So he had himself a great night. So, and you had a grand final on the weekend too, or two.
Mate,
two?
We had 2 of them.
Yeah,
we had 2 of them, and both the opposite result. Our 14s team, who the last time they played the team that they got in the grand final, the margin was 20. They'd lost.
Mm-hmm.
They went down by 4 points.
Oof.
Amid some very dubious refereeing in how some things were called, but that's coach's job to sit there and fucking ref's fault in private, not for them. And our 12s just got the fucking yips.
Yeah, okay.
It was team wide. And as I was talking to my assistant coach, and we were both saying, like, there's no direction we can give them. There's no, you're not doing this like we practice it, or you're not coming up in help defense like we practice it, or you're not screening here like we practice. They were just doing everything right, but someone put Gladrap on the rim. So they'll have those days, and they were all pretty good for it. To your point before about Leo, we were pretty lucky to have some mentally tough kids, and a couple of those kids just with fucking engines like you would not believe, as in quarter times called, and they come off like they're having an asthma attack. They've run themselves that fucking hard, just chasing everything down and being involved in everything, but ready to go again.
Yeah.
So but then a couple of other kids who started off the season where they would drop their head every time something happened, and they could do 10 great things in a row, but their one mistake could wreck them. But that was the biggest turnaround they had. So I think
Excellent.
based on our ability to do that, you and I are both now qualified to go and coach South Sydney.
Well, look, if we want the job, do we want the job? I don't.
Well, fuck me, don't those cunts play like they've got 12-year-old mentalities?
They sure do.
Oh, God.
That's a
Now,
good segue.
Nice segue into... We'll kick off with some news and see what's going on. Is there anything that caught your eye?
Oh, look, there's a lot of talk about the West Tigers, about how they've turned the corner after one win, and it's going to erase a decade plus of shit results, which not sure I'm on board with that, but
that's it.
No, look, there's some good press about the Tigers and Benji, which is a stark contrast to a week ago when people were calling for his head after losing one game. So it's the roller coaster of the West Tigers, and we'll see what happens on Monday and what the stories are coming out after that. But I guess obviously just with regard to South that you brought up there earlier, obviously Dimitri is, they're the flavour of the week as far as how they're travelling or not travelling, as it turns out, and coach is under pressure.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Speaking of coaches, the Broncos are set to upgrade Kevy till to 2026.
Okay. When was he due to finish up? End of this year.
That's it.
Okay, so 2-year deal. Oh, look, I don't think it's a bad move. I didn't rate Kevin Walters as a coach, and I think he's been kissed on the dick a little bit with the inclusion of Adam Reynolds in the side, who's probably assuming a lot of the articulation of game plans and execution to the playing group. He's also...
Which, to play fuckhead's advocate is his job.
Of course, yeah. But he probably does that as well as or better than 95% of players in the comp. Yeah, certainly better than anyone in that Brisbane squad. So, they're coming off a grand final appearance. He's got Reece Walsh at his disposal. There's talk that he's getting an upgrade. Couple more years of Reynolds. I think it's smart from the Broncos, and I think obviously the players respond well to Kevy and in turn Reno, and they're building a solid squad. I still think they're short of 9 to win the comp, but
I think what Kevy gives them, and what no one since Wayne has been able to give them, is any sort of aura. And I know that term's thrown around a lot with Wayne, and I'm not at all saying that Kevin Walters is a fucking piss stain on the shadow of Wayne Bennett as a coach, as an actual mind of the game. However, Kevy brings with him some history. And if the Broncos have any of their fucking numerous advantages that they can call on there, it is the glory of those who have come before. And you see other clubs get to do it when players come out, or it's old boys' day, or whatever it may be. But Kevy's got that aura about him. I think as well, and to give him his credit, when he came in, again, I wasn't a fan. I thought, fuck, tactically he's going to be killed here. I would suggest that he has adapted to the changes in the modern game much better than other, so-called high-tier coaches like Des Hasler.
Yeah, I think Kevy... I agree. I think Kevy has probably evolved far quicker than I expected him to into that type of strategist. And and I think...
Not even a strategist, but just the game now is who is fitter and faster and can go at a faster pace for longer.
True.
That's the basis of the game again.
And I think the game, and Nate may have mentioned it last week, but I think the game has legit passed Hasler by, and he's getting a job, or he's got a job at the Titans based on reputation alone. And
Exactly.
in 6 weeks' time, that reputation is going to be in tatters, and he's going to be unemployed again.
Yeah. Well, but here's this thing. Hypothetically, let's say Kevy had, for some reason, been punted by the Broncos, and the Titans are looking at him or Des Hasler. That clubs would go, oh no, Des Hasler, proven coach, premiership winner, blah, 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 blah. Great leader, players love him.
Probably a little hasty. I don't think he'll be sacked after 6 weeks, but
no, not in 6 weeks. Like we'll get to it in other news. There are still parts of Kevy's tenure as a coach that I think he has some massive shortcomings in. Like, and that's that game to game planning. Like was the Reece Walsh thing this week or last week? I can't fucking remember.
The Reece Walsh thing,
where he fucked his face.
Yeah, that was last week against Penrith.
Yeah, that's it. So the most recent round 3. To not have any coverage on your bench in the age of the HIA. To not have any coverage on your bench at all for any sort of outside back. That's Kevy. That's pure Kevy. So while he's been really good at recognising, well, the game now is about speed and athleticism, and I can have my Walshes and my Ezras and these mobile forwards and big athletic centres. Oh yeah, but I forget that HIAs exist and none of them will ever get fucking hurt. So, but there you go, Broncos fans. Let us know what you think as well. Are you happy to have another 2 years of Kevy? And there's really nothing else that's gone on. Oh, Albert Hopewadi suffered serious burns after an oil can exploded at Corey Hadawiranada's house in a freak accident.
Interesting.
Somebody left an oil can. So by this, I'm assuming it's like what you fucking put in your brush cutter. Like not a fucking olive oil can in the kitchen. Someone left an oil can behind a barbecue. Or maybe it was an olive oil can. Who fucking knows?
Right. That's it's interesting.
That's it. What sort of fucking dumb cunt gets blown up by a barbecue? Jesus fucking Christ. And how good's that when that's about the only non-rugby league news out there?
Yeah. Don't hate it.
No, not at all.
It means we can get into talking about footy.
There we are. It's all just fucking talking heads making dumb fucking comments. Oh, there we go. The Rabbits were apparently in the box seat to sign Dom Young.
And then they weren't.
That's it. So, and look, at the Souths are the West Tigers of the moment.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
So, and it all seems to be fucking clickbaity bullshit. But let's get into the reviews.
Yes.
Round 3, 2024. There we go. Kicking us off. Thursday night. Your undefeated, four-peating champions, the Penrith Panthers, defeated the Brisbane Broncos. Well, in premiership games for the last 3 years. 34 defeated the Broncos. 12 down at the Muddy Puddle. Truva, Tango, Kenny, Tango, To'o, the try scorers. Mariner and Arthurs scored for the Broncos. Penrith converted 5 of 6, with Katoni Staggs kicking 1 of 2 conversions and 1 penalty goal.
We're not going through the scores anymore. It's one of the changes this year. So
really,
you're wasting your fucking breath.
There you go.
And you've wasted breath that could have been spent filleting your beloved Panthers over this performance.
Oh, I'm going to fucking fillet them. Like, what a fucking anticlimax to what was supposed to be the
Yeah.
Broncos' big fucking get back. You know, even fucking Parramatta last year, you know, came more prepared for a grand final rematch than the Broncos did.
Well, I mean, no Reynolds and no Walsh after what, 5 minutes? Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. Look, Reynolds is obviously a big fucking out for them, just from an organisational point of view. The Walsh thing, look, I've looked over it, and I think what this says, instead of going over what the right outcome was here, because I think that was the right outcome. You know, there was a head clash. There wasn't contact to the head with a shoulder. Um, there was, it wasn't a swinging arm, any of that stuff. But the NRL now need to come out and very clearly, and it was like we discussed last week. You know, how many times have you heard people whinge about obstructions now? And the only people that do whinge about obstructions are called out rightly as absolute fucking flops because the rules on obstructions are clear. You know, the rules on obstruction are clear. Oh, yeah, but he wouldn't have got to him anyway. Or, oh, yeah, but it didn't affect it. None of that shit matters anymore. The rules on obstruction are clear, and that broke the rule. So I think now with contact to the head, they have to come out and be very clear around, do you have to give or attempt a certain angle of, what do you call it, supplination
Jesus.
in your, or bending over to your common folks.
Well, I mean, common folks, rugby league people,
us
including the
bougies
players.
Us bougies out in Penrith. So come on, love. Okay. It's time for your Tuesday supplination. And it's
nice piece of cake at Panthers before we go back to Glenmore Park. Fuck out of here. Still in Penrith, cunt.
Oh, fucking there we go. All our talk about RSLs. Somebody get out or someone in the know, tell me what a fucking feed out at Panthers cost you these days in one of their 90,000 restaurants. And it's always fucking horrible, especially with an injury to the face, because they can be impactful far beyond what just the healing process. Like just in Penrith, Regan Campbell-Gillard had one when he played for Penrith, and that was a jaw. Was never the same after it. Never the same after it. Do you remember Josh Mansell's one? Where his face turned into fucking Ryan Pappenhausen's knee. And he actually had to go and have his face actually peeled off John Travolta style and had a plate put in there. And you could tell, he was not the same guy in contact.
Yeah.
After that. It's absolute fucking shit for Broncos fans. There's arguably your most impactful player on the sideline for a couple of weeks. Wouldn't have helped you in this game, though, just because you are also our sons. It's a very different look Penrith Panthers this year. You know, they still have traces of that grind you out, play the field position game. We'll sit down your end for 6 minutes. Don't care if we don't score. We'll go, and get you in the end. They're a much faster paced. They seem to be taking advantages of compressed defense very well, and we might say more so than they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that comes with these new centres they have in Taylor May and Tungor that are just, having a fucking field day out there.
Fair. I was impressed with Penrith. I think, there's still that little bit of early season rust to them and a little bit of polish to be applied, which will come later in the season. But I don't know that you could have asked for much more. The fact that Cleary's hurt now is a challenge for them.
Yeah.
Especially with no Cogger
Yeah,
to back him up now.
yeah, and we have been lucky in that our understudy sevens, both Cogger and O'Sullivan in the year before him, were both starting quality NRL sevens at other clubs.
Yep.
So this time we have less of a proven entity, I guess. But
the experience around him is going to lift him to another level. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they got the job done. They were impressive, and I think the Broncos were on a hiding to nothing without Reynolds anyway. And then once Walsh was out, they did well to keep the scoreline to where it ended up. Actually,
no Haas either.
Exactly,
was a big out for them. And I know Penrith were missing fish, but yeah, Haas is a big one for the Broncos. What's your thoughts? While I'm looking for the fucking socials that I should have had prepared earlier, what's your thoughts on the whole head collision?
I think there is an element of, he's rushing up to put pressure on the playmaker, which is sound defense, but
yep,
there's an element of recklessness if you're not getting in the right position to make.
Yep.
So the argument could be made that yes, it is reckless.
Yep.
But it's not reckless contact with an arm, like you say, a swinging arm or a shoulder or whatever. He's not in a position to make an effective tackle, and he's probably denied himself an opportunity because of the speed that he's coming up in order to cut down the time and put pressure on the playmaker.
I think you would have a hard time. I think you would have a hard time regulating. Please don't run into tackles so fast.
Yeah. It's an absolute minefield, and it's near on impossible to adjudicate that, but it's still reckless.
Yes. Yeah, I get that. Ryan, you said, is it still referred to as a grand final match if only one of the finalists bothers to show up? 10 minutes into the second half. There you go. Andrew, he said, well. Young Jay and beloved Riff. Happy New Year, everyone. It's so great to be back in such a fashion. Old Mr. Panda-wearing kink hands gets his chance to spank off about his team, who played a very much underdone Bronx. But look, hip hip hooray, Captain. # 4 in a row. Fuck you for suggesting that I would ever wear Panda Dunks. That is close to the most fucking insulting thing that anybody's ever said to me. Jared said, Billy Walters first half. 2 penalties, 2-6 again, 3 passes hit the deck, slow service, making Brizzy forward stop their run, and fell for a dummy to let in Kenny. And Daddy still didn't drag him. Yeah, that was a rough one. You're right. I think that's the... Can you win a comp without a top tier hooker? And by top tier, I mean...
Depends how good the other three are.
Like top 5? Would you say that? Is that top tier? Top 5 hookers in the game?
Yeah, I mean, Mitch Kenny's not a top 5 hooker. You guys did all right last year.
So we say Appy?
Yeah. Cook.
Is Damien Cook a top 5 hooker?
He's still a top 5. Harry Grant, Appy.
Harry? So Harry and Appy are in there for sure.
Yeah.
Who else? It's not fucking Danny Levi, I'll tell you that much.
Jesus.
Yeah, Brandon Smith. And then again, like, so this is this thing. You're quick to diss Mitch Kenny.
Yeah, but is he a top 5 one?
But this is what I'm saying. Front of your mind, no, he is not he's a top 5 guy, but fucking name the other 5 then. like we're at 3 and Cook's there on reputation.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd have Mitch Kenny in front of Danny Levi. That's for sure.
Yep, that's it.
I want to say Reed Marnie, but the impact that he has on that side, I mean,
yeah,
it's non-existent at the moment.
Daniel said, let's see Panthers without their halfback, fullback, and form forward. Well, you had Cleary out of the game at the end with a leg, and James Fisher-Harris, who's the best prop in the competition, didn't play all game. So you got most of what you wanted. Kevin, losing Haas and Walsh was so much worse than Reynolds. We crumbled and nobody stood up to lead us. Billy Walters was dialed back to his Tigers days.
Which are the same as his Broncos days. He hasn't improved.
Yeah. Stephen
I've been saying this shit about Billy Walters and no one wanted to acknowledge it. And I've been right all along, you motherfuckers.
That's it. Steve, he said Panthers' dominance in this contest is highlighted by the fact that Brisbane are scoring junk time tries with 25 minutes to go. And Jack, Appy Coruscant on Instagram, he liked the Mitch Kenny try. Looks like he's trying to take the Dane Laurie route back home. Hashtag fuck the Broncos. There we go. Next game. Anything else you want to add on that one?
No.
Lovely. Next game, the Wars. We're up 18 over the Canberra Raiders 10 at Apollo Projects Stadium in Christchurch. What do you reckon about that one, if you don't want to read the scores?
Look, pretty impressed with the Warriors. RTS, another game along his path back to peak RTS in the NRL with a pretty impressive solo try. I think the Warriors and the Raiders are actually quite similar sides. They're very big packs with a bit of flair in their outside backs, and unfortunately, for the Raiders, their coach is a complete fucking psychopath. But quite similar matchup, and it reflected in the game. But ultimately, the Warriors, I think they just had that little bit of extra polish on the night, and the Raiders. I'm actually, all jokes aside, I'm actually impressed with the Raiders this year. I think they're legitimately a top 4 side, and I also think that the Warriors, and I saw an interview with a couple of Warriors players, Tamari Martin being one of them, that they're conscious of the fact that last year they were probably underrated and underestimated, and they probably got some results that they wouldn't have been expected to get because of that, and they took some teams by surprise where they've acknowledged that this year they don't have that, and teams are legitimately stepping up to because they are well aware of the Warriors' capabilities as a team. So I think this was a pretty solid hit out for both teams, and I'm impressed with both of them, and it's good to see the Warriors players looking to improve on what they did last year and make themselves a legitimate top 4 side.
This game was a fucking grind fest, and I say that in the most positive way possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to point out just how much the modern game has changed and how much more the modern day player is expected to do. So, do you remember the stage where, there was Robbie Farah would crack it occasionally, and, Danny Badiris had hit 40 tackles in a couple of games in a row, and Cameron Smith was tackling his guts out. Tohu Harris made 50 tackles.
Yeah.
In that fucking game. And then, in every fucking game, unless there were, 30 line breaks, the big meter getters were always your forwards.
Yeah.
RTS with 200 run meters.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Rapiner with 205.
Yeah, the back five now, the work that they're expected to do to get that momentum early in the set with field position has become a really critical part of the game over the last. Well, it's always been an important game, but the change in body style with those back five now, the power and meters that they're expected to make, is a huge
different.
evolution in the game.
Yeah, it's different though. Why it's important? It used to be that whoever took the bomb, would in the best case situation find themselves in a broken defensive line and be able to take advantage of that. And so it was one tackle.
Yeah.
Now the first 3 tackles of your set are expected to be 10+ meter runs.
Yeah.
To get you on side. But in this game, the hotly contested battle for the most line breaks was tied between DWZ, Jordan Rapiner, at 1 each.
Yeah.
So,
Tough game.
Oh, and if both these teams base their season on a defensive identity, there are worse things that both of them can do.
Definitely.
Socials on that one. Glenn. Barnett was a beast and DWZ just gets it done. Strangers showing huge maturity for a 19-year-old. Chaotic game as you could expect from these teams. Jared. He said, as soon as the Warriors straighten up their attack, the points start coming. Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, they stop going sideways for a little bit. And Matt. He said it was a good old slog for most of that game. Both look like top 8 teams. Am I showing my age, or does anyone else hear the Soul Glow commercial from Coming to America in their head every time DWZ is on the screen? I am so fucking happy for him. Like, I loved him when he was at Penrith.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved him. Unless it was one of those games where he wanted to play fullback, in which case he can get in the fucking sea.
Yeah.
But he seems to have found...
I think he's matured.
Yeah.
And I think he's in the right system for him now.
Yep.
I think Webster's the right coach for him.
Yep.
And the right group. But he brings so much to that team and just amazing finisher.
Yeah, correct. But also would never shirk like a hard carry.
No.
Would never shirk, well, fuck, I need a hit up here, and the only people in front of me is a prop and a second rower. Would always tuck the ball and not pass it off. Absolute fucking champion. Great dude. Next game. Fuck, we're ploughing through these. Nate's not going to make any at all.
No.
The Roosters. Fucking hell, in the unexpected blowout of the round. I tipped the Roosters, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. 48. Nearly the first 50 burger of the year. The Rabbitohs 6 down at Allianz Stadium.
Yeah, she's as we said earlier, the Rabbitohs are being picked apart by the media, and by all reports are in crisis mode, and Dimitri is under intense pressure. Rabbitohs weren't great. I think the Roosters probably just continued what they've been doing so far this season. Their halves were really good. They were given plenty of time and space because the Rabbitohs couldn't get a platform to get any real momentum going. So the Roosters forwards sort of had their way, and some of the ball play from Keary and Walker and Tedesco doing his thing. Rabbitohs just, they're starting to... The noise now is, should Latrell be playing centre or should he be playing fullback? I think he's can impact a game more at fullback, but he's got to be involved.
I think he could impact the game just in just as many ways as he does now. Sorry, not as he does now, but in just as many effective ways as he does now.
Yeah.
From the centre position, but he would be required to play like peak career Justin Hodges. As in, like Hodjo would come looking for the ball. He would understand when in a game, when in a half, when in a set. Righto, I'm in. And he would all of a sudden pop up in the centre of the field one out from dummy half, and just be ready to be taking advantage of some big tired forwards. I've heard a lot of definitive stuff about Latrell. He's not a fullback, or he's, um, or he's the best option they've got. No one's actually saying, well, yeah, Latrell could be an amazing fullback, but he would need to do this, 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 and this. And that, I think, sums up the issue at Souths, is that there's no one there that would have a hard conversation with him for fear of what he would do if he heard something he didn't like.
What are we talking about?
Well, people have just had the curtain pulled back. Seen the 3-2-1 clap.
What about him? Yeah, they won't have the 3-2-1. Well, we're talking about it a lot, so maybe fucking will.
The fact that if Latrell's not going to be their fullback, and we've already discussed, Glennie and I, just how much the modern game's changed in terms of the expectation from the back three.
Right.
In terms of, or your back five, sorry, starting your sets off and really gaining ground and being now a workhorse as well as the top of the tree athletically in your club. I think the issue is Latrell's motivation to be the best he can be for the game. And if you take Latrell Mitchell out of fullback and you put him in the centre position, then he will still be expected to work fucking harder than he is right now in terms of, every set you're getting back and you're taking tackle 2 or tackle 3 to get up and create meters. I'm not sure that Latrell all of a sudden turns into peak fullback or peak centre in the league in his current conditioning. I think that's the elephant in the room. That if he wants to play fullback, great. If they think they can move him to the centres and it's the best move for him, great. But for either one, there needs to be peak conditioning. The other issue that Souths have there is in terms of roster management, where they've gone out and bought Jack Whiten and bought him in to play centre. So what do you do then? If you move Latrell to centre, what do you do with Jack Whiten? Is he a lock?
Where's this? I mean, obviously, I'm just coming into the conversation. Where's this Latrell to centre business coming from?
South Sydney, as we've said, are the West Tigers of this week. All of the news articles are about how, coach is under pressure. It's either about the coach being under pressure or Latrell not being a fullback.
Yeah, okay.
And so everybody's giving their 2 cents about, well, he's a fullback, not a fullback. And then the English comparisons start. And then, but he was the best centre in the game here. Think back to Latrell Mitchell and the Sydney Roosters.
Yeah.
Say what you like about him or whatever attitude he did or didn't have back then. He was fucking conditioned to be a peak rugby league centre. And right now he doesn't have that.
That's fair.
No.
Anything you want to say?
Also,
Roosters and the Rabbits?
Also think the Roosters were, they clicked into gear and, got the job done with little resistance from South, given where they're at the moment. But pretty important win bank for the Roosters early in the season.
Yeah. Well, for South Sydney to go in and complete at 70% is absolutely woeful for them. 15 errors throughout the game as well. So there is some shit not clicking at South Sydney.
Fair. I think I said Keary before because I forgot Sandon Smith's name, and in my mind,
which ironically is a good Keary impersonation.
Keary with his brain. Keary.
Jordan,
like the fucking pre-CTE Keary.
Jordan said, Jack Whiten left the Raiders chasing a premiership. Rabbits have now gone to shit, and the Raiders are going well. Coincidence? That's it. Glenn, seriously, someone on the pod defend Latrell. You have to. Oh, fuck, what do you defend him about? Like he is. I would suggest.
I don't feel inclined to defend, but I don't also feel inclined to attack him either.
No,
really.
No. Same.
I would say he is the most naturally gifted rugby league player in the competition. Would there be anyone you'd throw over the top of that?
That's a big call.
Yeah, I think it's a big call. I don't know who I'd say ahead of him, but I think there's,
Well,
he's obviously he's a very talented player, and he'd be on he'd be in the upper, the higher tier if you're talking about natural talent.
So we're saying he's the Mitch Kenny of fullbacks.
Oh, fucking. Why is it just
bullshit?
You were doing so well until Nate got here, and now you're back to being a cunt.
You know what I saw on Twitter just before before I got back. I saw this notorious fucking Panthers, wannabe journo fuckwit, right? Saying that Dylan Edwards, could shift to 5'8" for the Panthers.
Jesus.
Yeah, let's get one of the only fucking probably 3 fullbacks in the comp that can't ball play and throw him in the fucking half.
That's it, 100%.
Yeah, right. Fuck
no,
hell.
so
and then the mole quote tweeted him said, "Have you been smoking crack cocaine again?"
Oh, Jesus. No, in the Panthers review, we were talking about the Broncos, and I said, can you win the comp without a top tier hooker? And then we came to the conclusion that the top tier is essentially...
Yes, you can. Panthers
Well, no, it's top 5. Oh. And then Glennie said exactly that. Mitch Kenny is not a top 5 hooker. And I said, well, who are the top 5 hookers? And we got Appy, Harry, and Brandon Smith.
Not based on like the last 12 months.
And this is the thing. Smith, After Appy and Harry, the discussion gets real fucking murky about who's the top 5 hookers. And so it's not that Mitch Kenny springs to your mind and goes, I'm fucking here. It's just you can't actually find 5 better ones. So...
King of the dump.
No, fuck me. If Latrell was in peak condition, he'd do it. And I want to talk back again. I ranted about this fucking so many fucking times. When Latrell hurt himself and he was over in the States getting rehab.
Yep.
The person I saw in that documentary, like I was legit frightened because that was the year. That was last year. South had just lost to Penrith in the grand final, and Latrell didn't play. And I was what I thought. Fuck, there goes any chance of us going back to back, because if he comes back with that attitude into that South side, the entire league is fucked. And it's just never eventuated.
That thought frightened you.
Look,
mate, it's just a game.
In the context of what we're talking about here,
calm down. Your kids will be all right. Don't worry. He's not going to kill you.
I may be eating.
He's going to play game footy.
I may be eating from the hyper bowl here. I'm eating me Nutrigrain out of the hyper bowl.
Fucking Lady Kruger's coming for you.
Oh, bitch. Matthew, 10 p.m. on Friday night, and Souths are dead last on the table. Let's take some time to reflect and take that in. Adam, maybe Ilias wasn't the problem after all. Stuart, I'm sure that the halfback was the problem last week, but I'm having a proper halfback this week might have helped. Fuck, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Winston, rabbits are the wet sock of this competition. Nick, he said...
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. A wet sock's not much fun and not much good and probably...
Yeah, but I mean, like if you were saying, I would consider that probably more the next team Titans.
So, yeah.
I mean, because they're
I don't know.
You got to like...
I wouldn't even jerk off into the Titans.
There's a lack of enjoyability around that side across 2 rounds and a bye that we'll get to, I suppose. But fuck me.
Thomas, he said the Bulldogs next week is our only real chance to get 2 points before the Dragons in May. If we fumble that, we could be sitting on 0 when we play the Dragons. What a start. There we go. Righto, Captain.
And there's no guarantee to beat the Bulldogs, because while the Bulldogs are not good, certainly not great, they did manage to beat the Titans 32-0 at the old ground, Belmore, which is not a bad little ground for them. And I mean, it's like one of those ones that their fans love as well, you know, the back to Belmore thing.
Yep.
Look, and like they were, I don't know. I mean, like, how would you describe the Bulldogs? I mean, that was solid, and you know they had moments of brilliance, and like Kickout was on one. But Jesus fucking Christ, this is, you know, through. I mean, admittedly, we only got 2 games and a bye to judge from here.
Yep.
But like, this has got to be one of the worst fucking Titans sides that we've ever, like, in terms of like their attacking ability. In terms of like fucking selections,
In terms of their
And
fucking
Tanner Boyd's
hand-eye
getting selected, he got selected
coordination.
again this week. Defense, and then Tino gets injured, ACL gone for the season.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Like, you know, like nearly like a fucking hole in the head. Like one of their, you know, if not their best player, certainly in their top 3. And honestly, look, I think. I wouldn't say that Desi's in danger, because I think that, you know, it's, you know, first year in, blah blah blah, and there's other guys that have had longer at their clubs and are sort of more under the pump. But it's a fucking woeful start. And if the guy was talking about the Rabbits and when they're getting points, and maybe they'll get points against the Dragons in May or whatever he said, where I can't see where the fuck the Titans are ever going to get fucking points from, because there is not a team in the competition that I would put under them at this stage after what we've seen.
No. That's
I'd
it.
agree with that. It's tough to give the Bulldogs too much credit when you consider how bad the Titans were. The situation where Brimson takes the bomb and literally just has to fall over the line and passes it to Foran, and they completely butcher it.
Yeah.
It summed up this game for the Titans, and we may, in 23 weeks' time, we may look back at that as being a graphic interpretive dance of how the Titans season was going to play out. But disappointing. Interesting to see how they bounce back, and whether Des, you know, can implement a bit of a siege mentality in them as he wants to do, and try and get them up, because at the moment it looks like a long season for Titans fans.
The only siege that can save Des at this point is if he fucking holes himself up in a room with Rebecca Frizzell and fucking and tries to impregnate her to fucking make him put big attachment ties for him and the area to stop him from being fucking asshole out of it.
So what? Like the old starter cult thing. Take her watch and black out the windows and.
Well, who knows? Maybe they might get a fucking halfback out of it. I don't know. But they're really fucking bad though. Like, I can't think of a time. I mean, it's hard for me to put myself into like the shoes of a Gold Coast Titans fan, because like I know what success feels like, and I don't know what fucking meth tastes like.
But mate, you think it's hard putting your feet in the shoes of a Titans fan? Try putting your hand in one of the cunt's gloves.
I'll tell you. Do you know the closest thing you could do? Go and get some bread, run it under the tap till it's wet again and sort of like a dough,
and fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Just cut a slice of tomato, get a bit of ham, and a bit of tomato paste. You just get them all together and eat them. And that fucking taste of uncooked pizza will give you everything you fucking need to know.
I was wondering where you could go with that, and I didn't. I couldn't tell. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it coming.
What do we have on the socials for that one?
Mass suicide from Gold Coast Titans fans.
Scott, just fold the Gold Coast, please. I want the pain to stop. Jason, So the Bulldogs get their first win of the season before Souths do. Who had that on their bingo card? That is such a good fucking point.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, Souths did have, 3 tough games to start the season, so, yeah, certainly more so than the Bulldogs did. So, I mean, I don't think it's that much of a stretch.
If this is the Titans after a week's rest, then pencil in the battle for the spoon for round 15 at Leichhardt. Fuck me.
Easy.
Matthew.
Easy now.
Scrappy game, especially the first half, but once the Dogs got out to 18-point lead, they seemed to relax and actually play like a footy team. Long way to go, but I hope they enjoyed themselves. Rare win at Belmore. Just rewards for patient fans. Sharky Dave, he said, why did Bumstone pass instead of scoring? Yes, well, exactly.
Yeah. Why is he in the centres?
Yeah, exactly.
All valid questions.
So many, yeah. The only way the Titans could be worse is if the Bears had taken over the license when Florimo fucking wanted it. Like, that's the only way they could be fucking worse. Dead set.
And Hammers, he said, I'd like to announce that for the Titans, the bad days are officially over. It's now time for the worst days. Fucking hell. Next game.
The Cowboys 46 defeated the Dragons 24 down at Jubilee. And this one was a strange old game. It wasn't even a game of two halves. It was a game of 25-75 where the Dragons started very well and they scored some excellent tries and their attack looked
slick,
like, fucking impressive.
Didn't it? What?
And this is the Shane Flanagan side. Where the fuck has this come from? And you realise it was just like the natural talent of some of the young guys that can emerge at times. And then we got to the situation where they're up like 18-4 or something, and then the kick goes through, sits up perfectly for Raymond Fatala-Mariner, who proceeds to fucking drop it over the line or over the dead ball line, resulted in a 7-tackle set for the Cowboys, and I think they might have got a restart or a penalty in that set. Anyway, they scored on that next extended set, and I think they went back to back, and like at 24-4, I think the Dragons probably get them, even though you look at the scoreline in the end. I think they probably just in the context of the game, I think you probably get them because I mean the way their heads went down after that try was bombed, and the way they very quickly conceded 2 back to back to get it to like 18-14 or 18-16 or whatever it ended up being, and then the Cowboys shortly after they got another one and they went into halftime leading and that was the end of that, and then the Dragons got like another try at the end, but that was, I think it might have been the last try of the game. It was definitely like consolation garbage time. But so there's 2 things. I mean the Cowboys they have been slow starters, but the Dragons, they're that side that like there's some natural talent in there and the ability to score points. But fuck me, if you can start well on them, i.e. Dolphins last week, or if you can just do something to fucking flip the script on them even a little bit, just
swing the
make
momentum hard.
Just punch them in the mouth a little bit. They don't even have to really do anything. And fuck me, they will fold.
Yep.
Like they will fold.
They'll fold like the North Sydney Bears.
Absolutely bottle as gits.
Yeah.
They fold like the way they should have, and instead let the Illawarra Steelers have the license by themselves in perpetuity.
Choices.
Wow.
Choices.
Yeah. I think the Cowboys are slowly starting to warm into the season, and much like they did this game, they started slow, as you said, Nate, and just stuck with it, and then really just pulled away with it. I thought Holmes played really well, bounced back from...
certainly made up for that game.
From what he's described as worst game of his career, certainly has come back from that. And the Cowboys were all the better for it. And, fuck the Dragons and their fans. Spoke to one of them today on the phone. When's the party come out? Tonight. Oh,
same time it fucking always does.
That's it.
There we go.
Fucking
Ash.
Fucking free entertainment.
Was that Cashy?
Yeah.
He should fucking know fucking better.
Yeah. But he fucking doesn't, Nathan. This is what I'm talking about.
He should know better than talking to you.
You can't educate bacon.
You can't.
You just can't.
You cannot. or
Jesus
people
fucking
with fucking little pig dog eyes. You can't.
Ash, he said, not many teams can give highly convincing impressions of the highs of Melbourne Storm performances and the utter incompetence of the West Tigers standard performances in the same half of football. But ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 2024 Dragons.
Yeah, let's talk about the fucking Tigers, shall we?
Ben, he said the first half was a roller coaster of emotions. Shane, this was like watching Toyota Cup. Giannis, 18-4 up after 20 minutes. We started looking for familiar things to do with that Mars bar. Robbie, the Cows won the middle with hard running and Chad's scoring was as soft as Glennie's bald head. Brendan, the Dragons have an easy game next week. The main reason is their opposition next week just can't beat them. Mark, Dragons are familiar with all the classics. Clocking off early, putting the cue in the rack, don't give up on your dreams, keep sleeping. There we go. Even their fans are turning against them. It's horrid out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're
Flano
all
fucking
pieces of shit.
Flano warned him though. Like Flano actually said, "Listen, we don't have the players this year. We're building this. Next year's the real year where we're going to start. You're going to start to see some improvement over hookball. And the worst thing is that for like 10 minutes a game, they can actually fucking turn it on.
Yeah.
Here and there. I mean, it is in there. But as far as like, I guess like fitness and just 80 minutes and mentality, like it's just not there at all.
Not at all. Here we go.
Okay, West Tigers 32, fucking shit, the fucking shit in the Engadine Macca Sharks 6 out of the fucking Lilyfield tip on Saturday night.
Fuck, I'm so glad you came in, Nate. It's fucking excellent.
Just want to say, first thing, did you talk about Leichhardt getting shit canned?
No.
Like it's fucking done now. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
We might not see. I think it might be Manly in round 25. That might be the last game ever played there.
I was going to save it to this. Did you see how badly Penrith is still living fucking rent free in your head, or Tigers' heads, Glennie? There was some fucking dumb cunt from your clubs come out and had one last great attempt at trying to save Leichhardt by basically going, "Oh, why should Penrith Stadium have gold-plated toilets when Leichhardt Oval can't get an upgrade?" And
Penrith Stadium's got gold-plated toilets. Mark the time in which they install those gold-plated toilets, and I'll tell you, fucking set the clock for 10 minutes later.
10?
And
Are you kidding?
They will not have gold-plated toilets.
I suggest the plumbers will be shot before
what?
the fucking installation process.
You know why they have gold-plated toilets? They actually don't. But it's for every time some piss cunt's tripped over and bashed one of his gold teeth on those toilets after years and years of that treatment, it's just gotten a nice covering. Glennie, what did you think of that one?
You know what Leichhardt's got? Prison piss troughs. Fucking give me a fucking break. Burn it to the ground and play all their games out of Campbelltown. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Maybe
they'll shift them.
Get rid of some of the orange out of that jersey.
To CommBank, I reckon. They'll shift them all to CommBank.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're not going to shift. Like you'll probably get like 2 at Campbelltown or something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like any large amount.
No, I agree.
Anyway, on this night, in this particular occasion, Leichhardt was victorious.
They turned it on.
They turned it on.
It was.
And I tried to get you to say this shit. I tried to get you to come along on this journey with me, Glennie, last week on the show, and you just fucking wouldn't. You were just too.
Generally, when we go on a journey, it's in a little boat, and you take me right out to the middle of the lake, just in a little bit of fog. And then all of a sudden...
What are you calling me Fredo for, Nate?
Yeah. So, fuck you and fuck your journeys. But, look, it was an unexpected result. But the Tigers, they stuck it to the Sharks, and I think the Sharks fancy themselves as bullies, and...
Well, they hear it every week on the show from you, that that's apparently the way they play and shit. Let me tell you, your own team proved that to be a lie.
You're being a right cunt again tonight. For the 524th time in a row, you're being a right cunt. But Tigers stood up to him, and like most bullies, they wilted. And when they realised that the Tigers were matching them physically, they all looked to Nico Hines, who had an absolute fucking howler of a game. Absolute howler. And he got cremated on the socials, and people just went hard after Nico Hines.
Yes.
But not enough people gave the Tigers enough credit, because I thought Lockie and Ream were absolutely outstanding. Appy had an amazing game.
Yeah.
Well, he was like his best game for the Tigers, and definitely. I mean, and considering he's usually the best player anyway in every game for the Tigers, I mean, this is by far and away.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, again, that if
Olin was looking similar to, like, he was getting like back more to like
Melbourne Olin
before Hamoli fucking ended him last season.
I'll admit I've been critical of Isaiah Papali'i since he signed with the Tigers. I didn't love the signing. I didn't love his attitude towards the signing before he got there, and I didn't.
All the talk about backflipping and stuff was a bit shit. But I mean, as far as like a signing though, like in the player he is and everything,
it was a great signing.
But,
good, it was great.
He didn't have. Last year he was Adam Blair 2.0.
Yeah, he was not.
This year there's a distinct difference in his play.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's come from Benji or whether he just feels more settled or whatever. But he was great again.
His lawyers have thoroughly reviewed the contract and told him there is no way out.
So, look, a great performance, and I'll probably echo what Benji said. Is yes, great result, but what matters is what we turn up. How we turn up this week, because we've been known for a flash in the pan.
Who have you got this week?
Para.
Yeah, easy win.
Yeah, should be.
Would be the most memorable resurrection ever.
There you go.
Anything
else you want to say on that one, Nate?
No, I don't think. Oh, Aiden Caesar actually.
Yeah, looked good, didn't he?
Showing you what. Well, it's amazing what happens when you put a fucking halfback in there.
Yeah.
And he just does the halfback, the basic organisational stuff that you expect.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know why. I mean, that's why he was bought in the first place, and I don't know why he wasn't fucking in the side last time.
That's the thing. The plan was to have Sullivan at 6 and Caesar at 7, and then obviously Galvin has thrown a spanner in the works. I don't know that there's a spot for Sullivan in the side.
I don't think there's a spot for Sullivan in first grade rugby league.
I tend to agree.
Fucking hell.
I think he's fucking hopeless. I don't know why. Do you realise he's being paid more money this year than fucking Brooksy? I don't understand why people why they ever giving this guy money. I don't understand. He's not good. He's the exact whatever the fucking exact opposite of good is.
The thing is, sometimes when your club signs a player, you have a memory, or even if it's not against your own against the club, your team that he's signed with, but you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy play well. I'm looking forward to that signing, right?
Yep.
I cannot say that about Jaden Sullivan. I don't remember seeing him play a good game.
The thing about Jaden Sullivan is this is the absolute litmus test of this shit. Is when the Tigers signed him, Dragons fans who had just endured X years of hook ball, which followed fucking Mary ball, of complete abject failure and no success, they didn't give a shit that he was signed away from them. And so,
what does that say?
If he had anything going for him, you would have got the fucking, the back and forth and the bants about, but no, they okay, bye.
Yep.
See ya.
Yep.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Socials. Let's hear the tears.
No, it was actually fairly positive.
And wobbly gongs.
And by that I mean the Sharks seem to have stayed the fuck out of the thread.
Hey, Glennie, do you know the words of the new song?
No.
Do you know the words of the old song?
No.
Really?
Well, it's like, who are we? We're West Tigers, can't you see? And then, like...
So when you said no, you meant yes?
But,
so
but there's more words, but it gets, it's like then everyone's just throwing beer on one another.
So it starts off that you don't know who you are, and then it goes into what? We're the West Tigers.
It starts with an identity crisis, and then someone tells you. Then someone tells us that we're the West Tigers, and we try and John Cena it because we don't want to admit that we're West Tigers. Oh, it's a bit sad.
Who are we? I don't know. We've got CTE. Ben, good to see Mytho Hines in peak Origin form already. Captain Invisible. Stuart, Justin Olam has bought an asterisk up from Melbourne. Steve, to cap a miserable night for the Sharks team bus got stuck in the tiny ass backstreet behind the most suburban ground ever. Oh god! And then there were about 9 fucking million comments about who the girl standing behind Benji in the Tigers box was.
Is it the same one as last year? We've been through this already.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She was established, isn't it? She's like the video chick, isn't she? Yeah.
Alistair, ladies and gentlemen, I present the Billy Burns effect. Yes, indeed, in fucking deed. There you go. Sharks fans have crumbled. Couldn't even get in to defend whatever fucking performance that was.
Man, fuck them.
I just think sometimes you just gotta, like, ones like that. You just gotta sit it out.
There we go.
There's no good way. The only good way to deal with it is to not take the bait and just ride it out and hope they do something next week. So that they. Oh my god.
There we go. Next.
All right. Moving on. Okay, the Eels 28 defeated the Sea Eagles 24. I'd just like to get ahead of like the commentators, Gus Gould, people on Twitter that don't support Manly. Look, I know, like, you might have thought it was match fixing, but it wasn't. Manly made some fucking errors that, they shouldn't have made. One of those was the selection of fucking Jackson Paulo on their right wing. But really, actually, it was a pretty good game, and it was like a pretty intense kind of game, especially for like round 3 of the season.
Yeah, it was.
Well, both sides were pretty much up for it. The difference is really, I mean, it was really just a couple. There was a couple of mistakes that Manly made on their own end. Ben Travojevic dropped one coming out of the own end, and there was another one as well. I think it might have been O'Shea. Eels did a reasonably good job of winning the forward battle, but they also, like, Dylan Brown is a fucking great defender for a half, and he did a pretty good job on Hamoli. So much so that, like, they didn't really go to him that, as much as I would have thought. But otherwise, I mean, it's good tries on both sides. I'm not unhappy with the loss at this stage of the early stage of the season, especially when you've had the big Vegas start and everything like that. It's good to not get high on your own supply a little bit, and just when they got a hoodoo game coming up this week, and they got some bigger fish to fry. But poor old Eels, though. Well, I mean, I don't mean that like saying poor old Eels. I don't take that as to mean that I give a fuck about them or have sympathy for them. But their season's pretty much fucking over now with long-term injuries to Mitchell Moses. Yeah. I think Bryce Cartwright got done as well. Who else is fucking out?
What's Moses is a fractured foot, though. What's that, like 6-7 weeks, 7 to 8?
They're saying 12.
Yeah.
The first prognosis was 12.
But even if it is 8, I mean, he is literally. I mean, if you took him out of this game, the Eels get fucking smashed because his kicking game was a large part of what kept him in. Like him versus Daly's kicking games, they sort of almost nullified each other. But I mean, like, if they didn't have Moses kicking them down the field,
I get that, and you take the half out of any team except the Titans or the Dogs, and the result's the same. But
yeah,
you don't reckon they could snag enough without him over 8 rounds to be there or thereabouts when he gets back?
Ask me next week, but I mean, I think I'd give the Titans an excellent chance. The Tigers an excellent chance this week because of the guys that they've got out. So yeah, we'll find out how much Dylan Brown can carry them. but I'd certainly feel more confident. If I was an Eels fan, I'd feel more confident. Like when Dylan Brown was out for whatever he did last year.
Yep.
They covered his loss a lot better than I think they're going to be able to cover.
Yeah, correct.
Moses.
Correct.
So it's around this time that thank fuck that their coach has a son that plays in the halves. It's like almost like the perfect replacement at this. But that's right. The fucking the fans, their own fan base, fucking cyberbullied him to the point where he fucking left. So, gobble dick. Anyway, Glennie, have you say, pal?
Look, I thought Manly looked for the large part of the game like they were in control. I thought, and they just, as you say, just a few errors at critical times and positions on the field that invited Parramatta back into it, and they were good enough to capitalise on a few of those and sneak away with a win. But I thought Manly were far better on the day, save for a handful of moments.
I think you're being more generous than... Yeah, I think the Eels kind of had that. That's probably from the 20th minute to probably about the 50th minute, like that sort of middle portion of the game.
Yep.
And that fucking... It coincides with the prop rotation going off because we have gone into every game this season so far with no props on the bench. When the starting props go off, then we're throwing like back rows on.
Yeah. And
especially a guy like Bully, he's pretty small. He's got motor and everything, but he's pretty small.
So what's the rationale for that then?
Because fucking two of the other props that are ahead of Aaron Woods in the depth rotation are injured.
So
right now.
So it's literally just a fucking cattle issue. It's not
and that's why I'm not too concerned about it, because the things that I would want to improve in this game. Yep. Jackson Paulo, obviously Jason Saab will be back probably in 2 weeks, so that'll be the end of that. Yep. And then the other thing is like too light on in the pack, and I think Sipley will be back this week, and I think Lodge will be back in like 2 weeks or something like that. So all of this stuff is going to be sorted, within the first, in the first 2 months of the comp. So it's the time for it to happen, to happen.
Yeah, okay,
so.
Cool.
And then when that happens, because if you had a guy, even if you had Lodge starting or Lodge coming off the bench, just someone that's got a bit of like genuine prop size, it would have been a different story because on the Eels side of things, they had Junior Polo come on, who was like actually in like the best shape of his career. Yeah. And him against like smaller guys with motors, there's just no fucking way. Like the offloads got going, like there was nothing that they could do about it, and it's just because they were too light on. In the previous games this season against East and Souths, the original like the starting props have just fucked them over so badly that these little motor guys have actually just been able to out fitness them and outwork the their bench guys.
Yeah, again,
but on this occasion they actually got
season,
like Junior Polo's a fucking New South Wales, level.
That's it.
Prop. So I think that was the big difference.
Yeah, there you go, Brendan, with a fucking level-headed comment from a Manly fan. What the fuck's going on in the world?
I just gave you fucking 5 minutes of level headed.
No, in the socials. In the socials.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. The socials are a fucking cesspool.
I'm a Manly fan, so there's a lot of we and us below. The obstruction. Secondly, Jack T, obstruction. If you think you're hard done by in footy, then you need to take a good look at yourself. Why stop in the line? Why'd you put yourself in a position to give the bunker a chance to rule on the play? Do you need to look at our fitness? Would we have run into the opposition player if the tail was returned? It's a 50-50 call. It should go against the player doing something stupid, like stopping in the line. There we go. How'd you see that one, the obstruction?
Obviously being super biased. He actually because we've run that exact play before, and I can't remember which game it was, but we did the exact same thing, gash someone with the exact same play. And when Jake realised it was on, he actually he stopped before the line and then took a step back. But fucking Moretti was so out of the play, he kept running forward.
Yep.
And then the play was past him, and then he runs sideways. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he runs sideways. So I think if you look at it technically, I don't think he really was in the line at the time. But this is why we have the black and white rules, because we want black and white rules, because we want to take away
that's it. That's it.
So it is. I guarantee you, that fucking no one has took that fucking decision harder than Jake, and I guarantee you that he'll be running fucking 20 meters through the fucking line every time he's running a decoy in every game, henceforth in his fucking career.
Exactly. Nick, okay, I threw up in my mouth a little bit just thinking this, but Manly look like they might be the real deal this year. There you go. Anthony, Glennie always says Kurt Mann is the worst NRL player. He is wrong. It is Jackson Polo. Worst defensive reads ever.
Just on Jackson Polo, it's not that his reads are bad. The thing that, I've been talking to a lot of Manly fans about this as well, the thing about Jackson Polo, and it's something I haven't seen from like a player in a long time, is that he looks legit like fucking scared of like any kind of contact, whether it be offense or or defense. He looks like he's legit like looks fearful. I mean, and he seems to be, from what I understand and what I've seen of him in interviews and stuff, he seems to be like a kind of timid kind of guy, like shy kind of guy and everything. But man, like I don't think you can work that sort of stuff out in first grade, because that's when you get into these positions where you just get completely fucking burned and just like ends your whole career because it just head fucks you so bad.
You never get the chance.
So for me, I'd be learning how to defend and just learning how to love the contact at Blacktown rather than in first grade. But yeah,
there we go.
Not good.
Beautiful. That's us.
And it was like him versus Morgan Harper on that side of the field was an absolute fucking battle for the ages, because Harper fucking came. Jesus Christ. If Jackson Polo wasn't scared of contact, he would have scored 2 more tries, because there were times there where he overran Garrick and when he passed it to him, and he would have just ran easy try. Like, his Harper just shot in, so I mean, he's fucking terrible. I can't wait for round 8.
Yep.
Last one, 14, Knights 14 defeated the Storm 12. I didn't watch this one because I was, after the Peter Goff experience in the previous game, I had to fucking cleanse myself by watching a sport that had integrity. So I was actually watching the live last day of the autumn basho for the Grand Sumo, and where we saw Takara Fuji, a rookie in the top flight division, win a tournament in his debut tournament at the top level, and which is the first time, which broke a record that has stood since 1914. So it was fucking historical.
That's longer than most of the buildings in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well. I mean, he started because in sumo, in the sumo tournaments, you've got 15 bouts across the 2 weeks, and he went out. He won his first 11. And that was tied a record that was set in 1944, and so he would have had the record himself had he won the next one, but he lost his 12th one, ended up finishing 13-2, and just fucking historic. And it's great to see. Like, I could see it sort of developing over the start of his career that he was going to be good, and that's good. It's good to see when you see like a historic thing like happen in real time, But he's fucking awesome. And there's a couple of other awesome young guys as well. So a new golden age of sumo, I think, and with some good Japanese guys, not dominated by fucking Mongolians, as it has been over the last probably decade. So tell me about this game. I know fucking nothing about it. I didn't even watch the mini.
Pretty entertaining game. Between, stay tuned for this, Knights fans. 2 very good sides.
I know you're saying this like this is being like you're being sarcastic, because I also happen to know that the Storm didn't have any of their halves.
No, true. No, I think Newcastle did well to capitalise on a Storm side that were down more importantly Hughes over Munster, but
100%.
Pappenhausen had his moments, as did Ponga. I thought Ponga's, had some really class touches, put his stamp on the game. One thing that I was really impressed with from Newcastle was, and I was surprised to see it given it was Melbourne, was their punch through the middle with the Saifidi boys, Leo Thompson. The first contact from Melbourne, they sort of nullified the first contact from Melbourne and made really solid meters through the line, and then got to their front for quick play the balls. I don't rate Crossland, but he seemed to be getting into dummy half and getting that roll on, and then when they got into attacking position, Tyson Gamble and more importantly Ponga had that little bit of extra time and space, which is so important against Melbourne, and they were able to capitalise with some key plays. I thought Ponga's pass, where it looked like he was actually stumbling forward and then threw a beautiful cutout ball for the winger to score untouched. Just moments like that he brings to that Melbourne side in front of an impressive and loud hometown crowd. I was entertained by this game. I enjoyed it.
It was one of those interesting ones. Sometimes it can be technically what you would look at and be like, oh my God, that was a shit fucking game. But because it was sort of equally shit on both sides, and by shit I don't mean it was bad quality football or shit like the Titans are shit, but the Storm completed at 69%. So the Melbourne Storm completed under 30 sets in a total game of rugby league. I can't fucking fathom when the last time that would have been. Well, somebody fucking nerd out and check on that.
There was a lot of flashing to Bellamy in the box.
There was. But it didn't feel like one of those stop-starty sort of games. And I think that was down to the fact that there's still a fair bit of talent on that field. Fair play to the Knights. Again, you can only play what's in front of you, and when you've got the opportunity to take out one of the favourites for a top 4 side and take the 2 points from them, that shit fucking matters come end of season. So this was one that the Knights could ill afford to lose, and they came out and they did it. They worked well. Anything else you want to say on that one, Glennie?
No.
Nice. What do we got?
Credit for everyone.
Credit for fucking everybody. Josh, what's the point of forcing teams to really consider using a single captain's challenge if the bunker isn't even taking their job seriously? I don't give a fuck about either team, but that was absolutely a hand on the ball strip. Fuck, man, I'll tell you. You'll lose too much fucking sleep over shit like that. Phil, someone's wife and kids are spending the week in a basement. Daniel, Knights were lucky to get away with that one. Played terrible for most of the game. Probably lucky the Storm had a couple out. Cogger had a shocker. I didn't think he was that bad. I thought he did pretty well in a, at times, disjointed team. Danny, that was close. Didn't do ourselves any favours, but we got the win, and thank fuck we did. There you go. Giannis caps off a round of massive upsets. We're underdogs like the Eels, Tigers, Knights, and Cowboys somehow came out on top. Oh, there we go. There's the reviews for you.
The thing is, he's probably only probably half wrong there too. Yeah. You know he's joking.
That's it. I would also like to point out that Steve in our Facebook group was the first one to point out that the West Tigers have basically just played the best game that their club has played since the grand final in 2005, and it got them to 9th on the table.
Yeah, but I mean,
keep talking your shit, bro.
If we're being honest, I mean, we did, the previous game they played at Leichhardt was the 66 odd fucking win over the Cowboys.
Yeah,
which is pretty fucking good, and actually historically broke records in terms of
no, but that one doesn't doesn't count because they got beaten by more than they won by. Like they lost on fucking aggregate. How do you beat a team by 60 something to nil or whatever it was, and fucking lose?
Glennie, look up at your print on the wall. What was the score for that game?
Idiot.
No. There we are. We're done on reviews. Previews.
Right. This week, Storm have a bye, so we go starting on Thursday night. We have the Roosters versus the Panthers. Now, this one, Luke Keary's expected to be back for the Roosters. Lindsay Collins is out. The Panthers side, some changes. Cleary has a minor hamstring strain, they say, which will probably keep him out for 3 weeks, which will be 2 games, and then because they've got to buy, I think, the third one. So I think it'd be crazy to try and jeopardise him when you know you've got a buy coming up the week after next. I don't know if they'd rush him in back next week, but he's definitely out for this one. Sorensen out as well, so halfback will be Brad Schneider. And how do you feel about that, stepdad?
We touched on this briefly in the review, but it's probably the least qualified we've had of any of the understudy halfbacks that Penrith have had for the last little while. Schneider is a serviceable half. He's obviously healed himself after the time he had to spend in Canberra.
And I thought he was pretty good he had some good games down there for Canberra.
And yeah, he certainly did. And then spent some time in Super League as well. So it's not like he's been out in the wilderness. It's not like he's been, sitting and waiting for a first grade opportunity at an NRL club. Sorensen's a big out as well. Just the energy that he brings in to the team. It probably also suits this style of play that Penrith have had so far this season less to have an understudy halfback in. Like for the games that we've won this year, I know it's only 4 rounds in, but Nathan's been far more involved individually than he has in previous seasons. Like that fucking little play he ran, like the try that he put on for Taruba where he has just absolutely bamboozled Ezra Mam just with a nice little fucking double pump and hold the ball and it sort of disappeared behind his hip for a second and reappeared. That's the sort of shit Penrith will miss. Obviously, his boot and positional play. But as long as it's the same situation as it's been for the last couple of years, where it has been whoever's wearing the number 7 jersey, when we need to, we'll simplify the game plan. Get out there, kick it to corners. Your outside backs will chase it like the fucking devils after them. And we really need to play the territory game. When you lose skill, you need to be amazing in the fundamentals in other areas. So the weak point for the Roosters is going to be their halves. And I mean that offensively and defensively. They're the obvious weak point. It's going to be a fucking good matchup for these young Penrith centres as well. Going up against the fucking Suali'is and Joey Manus of the world who have the ability to embarrass opposition centres, so they're going to be top of their game as well. Penrith 13+.
What's going on with Sonny Luke? Why is he not in the 17 and then Dane Laurie is?
Look, as Kenny came in to replace Api, I was one of the doubters, and I was one of the ones that was the Sonny Luke camp. Only because Sonny played more of that run first Appy style of football.
Yeah.
However, it's just turned out that I think Kenny's a much better defensive option, which has gotten him the nod over Sonny for the hooking role.
Yeah.
And he's proven that he can play big minutes.
Yep.
When
that's
needed.
Cool.
And,
why isn't he on the bench though?
But
I don't see the utility value of Dane Laurie.
Oh, look, Dane can cover, and we spoke about this with Brisbane. Kevy Walters had 0 coverage for an outside back on his bench, and Dane can cover anywhere 1 to 6 at a pinch. And it may also just be that they're getting him on there to get him some game time to see where he fits in this rotation going forward. This may be a test. And, well, fuck, Dane, can we bring you on as a 14? Can you play a little bit of hooker? Can you just give some amazing service? When Brandon Smith goes off the field, are there going to be some options in behind the ruck? Who fucking knows?
What jersey do you have under that jersey? Or do we not ask that question anymore now he's back at Penrith?
Well, yeah, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
It would just be another Panthers jersey, Lenny.
Well, it seems weird. It seems unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's hot wearing two, especially because he had the the best and less, like the fucking thick sort of heavy cotton one. And, that was the one he was wearing the other time.
I think the Roosters win this one. No Cleary.
Yeah.
I think I think the Roosters win.
So you don't think the rest of the machine rolls?
Not without Cleary.
All right. I've also gone the Roosters too, but if they win, it's going to be close.
Yep.
Rabbits take on the Bulldogs. This one's happening on Friday afternoon, Easter, Good Friday, whatever. Jai Arrow is gone for the Rabbits. Campbell Graham out until round 20.
Poor cunt.
Yeah, so this time Cookie's back, obviously. Hawkins remains in the 7 though, and
Wow.
couple of changes which don't really seem to move the needle for me that much, like Cheekham in 14.
No.
Havili just out of there entirely. Sean Kepi dropped, so that's gonna cut their errors down by 33%. Versus the Dogs, so Fox still out. Other than that, though, they're all good. Really.
If South can't win this fucking game, give me a break. Hang it up.
The Dogs got so many fucking opportunities given to them by the Titans.
Yeah,
And-
but South do give opportunities in 2024 as well.
True, but then the Titans also failed to make the Dogs pay for any of their mistakes. And I think that's the key difference in them. Souths may fucking play dropsies with you or throw a forward pass or two, but you give them a couple of repeat sets or you let them start a set on your 40. And there's too much talent there. There is too much fucking skill in that South team.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be correct for me to say that I believe in South because I just don't give a fuck about them. But
Look,
I believe that the teams on paper that they're putting on the field are eventually going to play closer to the paper value than what we've been seeing in the first 3 rounds.
That's it, Jack.
And the Dogs are a good team to fucking warm up on too.
I think you'll have, we're probably entering a little bit of a period of time for South where we're going to learn whether their champion players like Cook and Latrell, whether they take the media slander and this as a slight on them and put the team on their back and carry them forward to get them back to where I think they should be.
Yep.
Or whether they're legitimately playing to get their coach sacked. The next month will tell.
Yeah. But for this one, I'm going to say South just because I think they should be a better team. Should be.
Yeah.
It's still
South have a lot of flaws, but they don't have Kurt Mann, so they'll win.
It still fucking boggles me how you cannot, as a fucking professional sports player, that will to win is not enough for you to go, hey coach, we've disagreed about some shit, but can we please fucking work out a way to get these done?
Yeah.
Just blows my fucking mind that there's even the thought that, they're not playing to their potential because they want to blame it on the coach.
You've had to earn everything in your life.
I was given some shit too.
Yeah, but you weren't given your entire fucking career and means of making a living, and then being paid 6x.
Yeah, true.
What is
Yeah.
So, and haven't had people telling you that you're the best at that thing since you were fucking 11. So dare I say,
that's where the disconnect is.
You have a different mentality. The Broncos take on the Cowboys. Broncos, Reynolds gone, Walsh gone, Payne Haas, he's gone till nearly magic round. The Cowboys.
It's funny that what people used to call his mum's place.
Cowboys not nearly as much. I mean, Cohen hasn't gone forever. Tanoa Brown gone forever, and Lukey's out to about magic round as well. But look, Cowboys, some lapses in games to be fair, but they're the last unbeaten side in the competition at this stage. And sure, the draw hasn't been that hard, but I mean, you can only beat the teams that rack up in front of you, and they've done that, and they've done it extremely well last week. This one is, of course, the old Queensland derby, as they say, where we did have a golden stretch there of probably 5-6 years where it was 1 point either way.
Oh, those fucking games.
This time it'll be 1 point lead to the Cowboys every 5 minutes of this game until they accrue an incredibly large and insurmountable lead. And look, there's every opportunity that the Cowboys put 50 on them just for the culture.
Oof.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys will win. I don't think it'll be that bad, but I think they'll win.
I would really love to see this period where they are down on troops add another dimension to Ezra Mam's game.
Look, the thing that was a big factor in that game last week, and you guys probably mentioned it when you were talking about in the recap, but the fact that they had to reshuffle their lineup on the fly and they just did not have the ability when they reshuffled their players, they had no fucking idea how to space themselves out wide and when to bite and when to come in, and they just had no knowledge of playing like wing and center defensive combinations.
Yeah, well that's to the point we were making before.
Yeah,
that to Dane, why he's important there. Kevy had absolutely zero coverage for an outside back.
Yeah,
and in the age of HIA, that shit's gonna happen. No one's gonna plan for a fucking busted eye socket and gone for 6 weeks, but people will fail fucking HIA tests.
Yeah. But look, I got Cowboys.
Same.
And if the Broncos can end up in a hole while this period while Reynolds and Walsh aren't there, a hole that makes it finals a difficult achievement for them. Great. Fuck the Broncos. Hashtag fuck the Broncos.
I don't think Jock did a bad job. But
it's hard to know because
has Reynolds been named?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Yeah, he has.
He has been named.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether we'll see if he plays or not.
That's it. So he's named as 7.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that's really said that he's like 100% great, ready to go or anything. So
I think that must be that they're all just trusting. Oh well, he's been named.
We'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow.
And then see. Okay, so here's the thing: if you're the coach, are you running fucking everyone you can at him?
Oh, I would be anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you do. Yeah, you got to cyberbully halfbacks every minute of the game.
Yeah, fuck. I hope he's not coming back underdone. But I would love to see this period where Ezra Mam becomes like if he can unlock that part of his game where he's got that just pure raw athletic talent, but then can actually sort of scheme an 80-minute game plan and outsmart you as well. He could be one of the all-time number 6s. He's just a fucking freak of an athlete.
That's a fun thought experiment, but I would rather that he unlocked fucking Brodie Croft or Cooper Johns in himself and get so mentally fucked by this period of failure that he has to go to England.
Okay.
I ain't got shares in that motherfucker. I don't give a shit.
I'm just trying to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I'm Dairy Queening.
I just threw a fucking pipe bomb into the Dairy Queen.
You just drove a ship into my bridge. Fucking Ziggy. Let's go.
Yeah. We used to build things in this country.
Shit.
The Dragons take on the mighty Manly Seas Eagles down there in Wollongong, a hoodoo ground for Manly until the corresponding fixture last year. In fact, when I think they broke like a 20-year streak or something. So this game, let's see, who have we got in here? Nothing we didn't know about in terms of injuries for the Dragons. I think the Manly side is pretty much going to be the same. I see that Sipley is on the extended bench. and Tommy Talau's on the extended bench. Those two are a chance of probably coming in. I think if Sipley does make his return, it'll be at the expense of Bullimore. And I'm not sure if they'll put Tommy straight back in yet, but look, if so, he will go onto one of the wings for sure, because he had a pretty good game in his first game for us the week before.
Just quickly, have you ever noticed that Ben Travojevic looks like one of the guys out of The Hills Have Eyes?
I haven't noticed that because he doesn't.
He fucking does. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. Go and fucking Google image that movie. He could be a fucking stunt double. God damn. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
We're not going to entertain your slander. Look, I think it was a good thing last week, Manly, to get like a little bit of a reality check, especially going into a game that is traditionally a hoodoo game where, look, they were losing this fucking game in the 2008 fucking team was, and 2011 team was losing the same fixture. So I think that if they play the way they did in the first quarter of the game and probably the last quarter of the game against the Eels, I think that the Dragons are going to get absolutely fucking 50'd. And I'm happy. I just want to take 2 points and move on. But if they want to put 50 on for the culture, I'm fucking there for it. Thing about the Dragons, you just got to start well. You got to start. You got to snuff them out immediately, because they can, put on some tries like we saw against the Cowboys, and we saw them do, put on some good tries against the Titans in round 1 as well. Mm-hmm. However, if you can shut them down immediately, take them mentally out of the game immediately, or if they do get a little bit of run at the start, if you can turn that around on them, then they fold really quick. And
I think seeing the Titans play the Dogs has given me less faith in the Dragons than what I had, prior to last week. Because up until then, there was those round 1 Dragons, and they looked really sharp, and then fucking round 2.
And it was like a decent win. It was like a 20, high 20s to 16 or something. No, actually, it was really low. At times they scored jack shit. Yeah.
New coach, second week, they got up themselves a bit. No, essentially they had a bye round 1, and then got smashed round 2. So.
Yep, and we actually do. And this is the first time that the Dragons have had to play Tommy in about 3 years.
Yeah, fuck.
So last time they played him, I think it was pretty much a Hattie, and he fucking had an absolute worldie and just destroyed him.
And here's the thing: all of the fucking inside information that Flano's got, he could have the fucking 9 Harvard yearbooks full of fucking secret information on Manly.
Yep.
I am not sure these dumb cunt Dragons could execute anything he tells them anyway.
Yeah, and I think I saw an interview with Lawton today, and he said, like, we've completely changed the way we play this year anyway, so it doesn't really matter what he knows. But we had like a sort of an off the books trial before the trials against the Dragons.
Yeah.
And it was like, that game was played on the condition, it was like, you don't go falling on guys after the tackles, and like just try and take care of the people after you've stopped them. And it was also like no match reports, no media or anything about the game. And from what I was told from people who were set in attendance at this game, that it was just like fucking, it was like an NRL side playing a fucking Harold Matt side. They fucked them up so badly. Like, it was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah,
to the point
I
where people started.
But then, how do you know? You go, what does take care of the guys mean to both sides? Does with the Dragons?
Well, it basically means don't fucking hip drop them and put them out in a trough.
Anyway, Manly. Manly will win this one.
So Manly by heaps, and we were just talking about the Titans, how shit they are. Guess what? They're playing next, and they're playing down at Hope Solo Coliseum against the Dolphins. And fuck me, Dolphins 38 to. It's just really hard to see where points come from, the Gold Coast Titans. The Dolphins have proved that they can be a very capable defensive outfit. And if they maintain that pace that they put on the Dragons, where they were just so much faster in everything they did as compared to round 1.
Yeah. Yep.
This is going to be, this could very well be a carbon copy of the scoreline with the Dogs the week before.
Yeah, I don't hold much hope for the Titans. I think regardless of the fact they're playing at home, I think the Dolphins will win 13 plus easily.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know where it's fucking happening. Jane Campbell's been named at fullback. I just don't think it. I just look at. I can look at the paper lineup for the Titans, and honestly, while Tanner Boyd's in there in the 7, ahead of a real halfback, like, I mean, how badly did fucking Sexy go in the preseason that he's not starting at 7 when you see the way that Tanner Boyd's been going?
Yeah.
Like, they haven't got a halfback. I mean, they got Brimson stuck there in 4. Brian Kelly, it wasn't until I was watching this game on the weekend against the Dogs that, like, that guy he used to be okay. Like, he was a promising young guy, but he's a complete fucking NPC now. He was so bad in defense. Like, he's fucking shithouse. Like, I think the Titans are like, I think they may go winless for the season. I think they're fucked.
That's a big call.
Look at Glennie. Glennie's like one of them fucking clowns.
Fuck, I'm struggling.
I just want to stick a fucking ping pong ball in your mouth.
I want you to shut the fuck up and move on so we can get on
with a bit more girth.
Let's just keep on going. Not long to go.
What's that? You're nearly there, are you? A couple more strokes. Is that what you're saying?
Stop stalling.
Dolphins by 1 million. Warriors take on the Newcastle Knights in New Zealand.
They do. I think this will be a great game.
Wado's been named, which I think is very, very, very important for the Warriors.
Definitely. I think the Warriors will win. If this was played in Newcastle, however, I would say the Knights would win. It's just that the home ground advantage for the Warriors. I think both teams will be up for the contest, but I think the Warriors will win a close one.
Tuivasa-Sheck in at fullback with a little bit more space, and it seems like week on week he just becomes more comfortable back at. You're just starting to see more of the old RTS shit coming back into his game. And I think at fullback he has much more space and he's going to have much more ball and, broken play and things like that to play with. So I think we'll see his best game since his return. Look, I've got them. I just have looking at my tipping here, and I've tipped the Warriors. But look, the Knights aren't without a chance. I mean, the only problem is, very shaky start to the season, a win against a very depleted Storm side. Warriors.
Yeah.
Sharks and Raiders. This one's happening at Reclaim Australia Stadium.
Sharks have got
Glennie.
Sharks have got a lot of work to do to bounce back from a pretty ordinary performance last week, and I think the Raiders have actually shown so far this season that they're a quality side. I think they should handle the Sharks. On paper, you'd think the Sharks should be highly competitive against Canberra, but based on how they went last week, they've got a lot of work to do. And the bookies have got the Sharks as favourites, which is outrageous. I think the Raiders will win and win well.
Really? I mean, the thing is, well, guys like Papali and Hudson Young, and Horsburgh's not back yet from the look of it. He's named in the 19. But like someone like Elliot Whitehead, I mean, they would have watched that game last week with the fucking Tigers and been like, "Fuck yeah!" Like if they can if they can get into them like that, just fucking watch.
Let's go.
Like this. Oh, they can be got to. Like you can get them like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So. I agree with you. I think the Raiders are in a massive chance. I'm not sure if they're going to get away with the win, and I don't know if they're going to win well.
Here's the thing, the Tigers pack are essentially the over the hill fucking Central. Guys who were great, past their prime, on the downward slide.
You've just described one of our forwards, David Clemmer. That's it.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Alex TWiL.
And fucking Bateman. Look at your entire fucking forward pack, lady.
Appy? I mean, you got to say Appy's closer to the end than in the beginning.
Bateman's 30, and he's over the hill.
Yeah, he's on a fucking... Appy's not on an upward slide. He's come from fucking
Bateman's
premierships.
He's still climbing.
Bateman's
Heading towards another premiership, you imbecile.
Climbing out of a fucking sewage pit. Anyway, so yeah, Canberra are going to
Damon's
absolutely
fucking English, man. What the fuck?
smash them. I get the feeling that the Sharks don't have a set game plan in terms of how they want to win a rugby league match over 80 minutes. In that they're just out there and it's just, well, let's take every set on its own merit and just try and see what presents itself every set. And that shit's going to work, and it did work. Last year they had a good year and were able to win some games just off the back of their athleticism and their natural talent. But I think now they're in a situation where they need a little bit more discipline. And there's a couple of key positions. I think they need some more skill in the hooking role and a little bit more consistency in terms of their outside backs are big and strong and quick, but they need to build pressure and earn repeat sets and have those guys wear down defensive lines slowly instead of just trying to bust them open with a fancy.
Who's on the who's opposite Timuko? And is it fucking Oh, actually no. So I look at their lineup and they don't have what's his face in the centers. They got Kyle Iro in the. Okay, so Kyle Iro in the centers. He was someone that I wouldn't have mind snatching across the Manly back in the back when he couldn't get it out of reserve grade. He's actually a boom youngster.
And wouldn't you know it?
And
the Sharks are $1.60 favourites.
Yeah, the thing about the Sharks is they're actually like the forward style of play that they like to employ. They're just down. They're down on troops for that shit at the moment with like Rudolph and Hamlin, Ueli and Finucane and everything out. Royce Hunt. I mean, they got a lot of fucking big, meaty men that are out at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's part of their problem.
Big meaty men.
Yeah, big meaty men. Getting out there and slapping the meat.
Alrighty.
Jesus.
Find it hard.
Eels take on the Tigers. Give us a scoop, Glennie.
Scoop is the Tigers are going to win. It's Easter Monday. We always win the Easter Monday games.
Do you?
No, not really. But how good were we last week? And Para comes in.
Inspiring, Glennie.
Limping. No Moses. Cartwright's been named. I'm not sure he'll play. But if you look across the two sides,
Sivo's back. That's one. That's something.
Yeah. If you look across the two sides, I think you'd have to, if you know anything about rugby league, you'd review that and see that Parramatta have no chance and the West Tigers will win 13 plus.
Oof. There you go.
Who's going to be the destroyer on the part of the West Tigers?
Lockie Galvin. I think he'll be up for it.
Nice.
A few raps getting around for Blaze Talangi. I think Lockie Galvin will be up for a big contest. And Caesar steering the ship, Appy doing what he does. And Ream crushing it. Para. Fucking Easter Monday. Love it. Remember when Jacko kicked the field goal on Easter Monday a couple of years ago? Oh, please.
That was great.
Brilliant.
Not going to lie.
Don't mind these games.
That was inspiring as well.
Don't mind these games.
And look, the Tigers are favourites there at $2.75 to $1.45.
Yeah, certainly the favourites with Glenbook. The more you put on, the more you get back.
The more you get back, as they say.
Fuck, do you remember that fucking betting agency that lasted for, 2 years where you could put your own fucking odds on? And you could give $1.10 odds on a footy game. And if you deposited $100 on that bet, you could take up to $10 on it. You could essentially set your own odds, but you had to put a certain amount in there to cover the winnings, and they would allow people to take that bet up to what you had put in there as a bank.
Right.
And then they took a clip of the winnings from the winner. So if you saw $1.10 odds, you might have only gotten $1.08 back.
Right.
Whatever it was. There was some fucking money to be made on there. I think they closed down very quickly, but from what I remember, it was rife with money launderers, but making fucking stupid lines and just putting drug money on there. But
pointlessbet.com.
And before we go, I just got a comment on the episodes get piped onto YouTube as well, with no vision, but just the audio, same as any other podcast app. So just in case you weren't aware, but I had a comment on last week from Sean, who said that after listening to podcasts for years, I've just realised you can listen during work on YouTube. Production low, morale at an all-time high. So shout out to you listening on the YouTube.
Love it. Yeah.
And that's it, fellas.
Beautiful.
Thanks for getting started without me. And
yeah, sorry we didn't finish earlier before you fucking shut up. Show's been on a downward spiral since you got here.
Yeah, look, I am too. I mean, night off would have been tremendous, but
well, it's not really a night off because
you couldn't get it done.
We'd still just send you the files and you do what you do, but it's not really a fucking night off, is it?
Well, sort of. I mean, from everything I've been told, I mean, you finishing quickly was a slam dunk, but I'm 40 minutes late and you're still pumping away there, little fella.
I feel like you canvassed a fairly good market there. I'm surprised you didn't get the result you were looking for.
All right, that's it, fellas.
Fuck you guys. I'm going to bed.
All right, boys.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.